A political statement has met judicial scrutiny. The Supreme Court has pulled up Rahul Gandhi, asking him pointedly, and I quote the Supreme Court, "Why do you have to say this in media or social media posts? Were you there? How did you get to know that 2,000 square kilometers has been captured?" Unquote. This isn't just a legal poser. It's a moment of reckoning on accountability in political discourse, especially on matters of national security. At the heart of this debate lies a familiar fault line. Can elected representatives speak freely about military setbacks, or must they exercise restraint in the absence of hard proof? The government continues to deny any territorial loss. The army maintains operational secrecy, and now the court is demanding answers. Is this judicial caution then, or a quiet censure? And does this mean politicians will have to now back their claims with evidence, or risk losing the court of public trust and the court of law? Tonight, that's our top story. First up, what happened today, and then I bring in the guests.
Leader of the opposition Rahul Gandhi is in the Supreme Court's line of fire. He came in a sharp rebuke by the top court over his comment that Chinese troops are thrashing Indian soldiers in Arunachal Pradesh. Rahul made the comment during the Bharat Jodo Yatra. The comment was in reference to the India-China face-off in Arunachal Pradesh's Tawang sector in December 2022. A bench of Justice Dipankar Datta and Justice A.G. Masih took strong exception to the remarks. The Congress MP had also claimed 2,000 square kilometre of Indian territory has since been occupied by China, and he blamed Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his government for the surrender. How did you get to know that 2,000 square kilometre of Indian land has been taken over by the Chinese? If you are a true Indian, you won't say all of this, Justice Datta said about Gandhi's remarks. Were you there? Do you have any credible material? The court asked him. Appearing for the Congress leader, senior advocate Abhishek Singhvi countered, if he can't say these things, how can he be leader of opposition? But Justice Datta shot back. Then why don't you say such things in Parliament? The court, however, stayed proceedings in a criminal defamation case. In May, the Allahabad High Court had rejected Rahul Gandhi's plea challenging a February summons that had been issued by a special court for elected representatives in Lucknow. The BJP, armed with scathing SC observations, attacked Rahul Gandhi and asked if he was suitable to be the leader of opposition.
राहुल गांधी जी ने देश का खिलाफ जो बार-बार बयान दे रहे हैं, ये सिर्फ सरकारी नहीं, विपक्ष के कई सदस्यों ने भी कहा है कि ये ठीक नहीं है.
Judges also we can question their loyalty to the nation, but that's not the right way to see the constitution.
The BJP has got another shot in the arms against Rahul Gandhi, who has been attacking the government on number of issues. This is Aishwarya Jain for NDTV in Delhi.
And joining me on the show tonight, Rohan Gupta, representing the BJP. Adil Singh Boparai is the spokesperson of the Congress party. Major General Sanjay Meston is defense analyst, and Kapil Sankla is the advocate of the Supreme Court. Adil Singh Boparai, Rahul Gandhi has stood by his claim that 2,000 square kilometre of Indian territory is under Chinese control. But with the Supreme Court today asking him, how do you know, should the Congress then furnish concrete evidence or risk losing, public credibility on the issues of national security?
Well, good evening, Marya. I request for 90 seconds of uninterrupted time. Point number one, Mr. Rahul Gandhi has been granted stay of proceedings. So as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, the Supreme Court agreed with his arguments on a prima facie level, issued notice to the respondent, and then granted stay of proceedings. So it is a victory of sorts as far as Mr. Gandhi is concerned, at least at this stage. Point number one. Point number two, let me take the issue head on. Mr. Rahul Gandhi, by way of a letter to the Speaker on the 2nd of December 2021, sought a discussion on the Chinese intrusion issue. Please see what the Speaker's office says. The Speaker's office, by way of a letter on the 10th of December 2021, rejects a request for a discussion. This is in response to the obiter dicta. This is in response to what transpires in the course of a discussion in a matter that Mr. Gandhi, why does he not raise this in the parliament? So therefore, this is incorrect. Mr. Gandhi has continuously been raising this issue on the floor of the House. However, the BJP and their dirty tricks department has been obstructing any discussion. This is point number 2. Point number 3, the proof of the matter. Now, please understand, this is plain English. The government had 30 rounds of discussions with the Chinese. You had the then army chief saying that we want to revert back to status quo ante. What does status quo ante mean? That we want to revert back to the position prior to the Galvan clash. What is this? What is the corollary from this? This means that post the Galvan crash, the Chinese had encroached upon our territory, and hence we had 30 rounds of discussions that please move out of our territory. If there has been anybody who has compromised with national sovereignty, it is the Prime Minister of this country, because he gave a clean check to the Chinese.
2,000 square kilometer. How is that number arrived at?
Also. There is satellite imagery. Your colleagues in the media. Colleagues in the media.
So the media has spoken about it. Rohan Gupta, the question is, if the BJP feels and the government thinks that Rahul Gandhi's remarks are indeed misleading and potentially damaging to the morale of the armed forces, then why hasn't the government taken a legal route or tabled a white paper to counter such narratives officially?
Marya, I think what Supreme Court today has told is, it has summarized everything. I don't have to speak more than that because it's a matter of Supreme Court. But the basic point here is that as a leader of opposition, you need to be responsible. Yes, definitely you have right to question the government. Definitely you have the right to ask questions to government. But that doesn't mean that you reach to the conclusion and reduce the morale of our armed forces. If you are talking as a leader of opposition, you must have evidence in hand. You just cannot talk in air or just quote any media report, because media, even if sometimes media can also make mistake, and next day you will find that apology by media. But as a leader of opposition, you have to apologize to people of India, and you need to apologize to our army that just because of unverified sources, you are accusing our army somewhere. So I think, Marya, you need to understand a normal person speaking and leader of opposition speaking.
Yes.
There's a lot of difference. What gets added is responsibility. So what Supreme Court has told today is to be responsible as a leader of opposition and speak against government. Definitely you're right, but you need to have the proof to ensure that your claim is justified with that proof. But you just cannot talk in air and get away. I'll give you another example, Marya. Today, you see that election commission SIR process has been happening. Same thing is happening. You are questioning the constitutional institution without any evidence. And same thing is getting repeated. Same thing is repeated. Yes, you are in politics. It is right for you to question government, but not without evidences. Because you are losing the trust of people also. You are losing the trust of judiciary also. And if you continue doing this kind of activities, people will never trust you. Same with their allies, RJD, Tejasvi. You have seen what happened yesterday. He did the press conference and immediately election commission produced the evidence. Now he's quiet. Again, I'll give you last example, Marya, because this is very
I get your
topic.
point. I get your point. Here are a number of questions which has been asked by the bench of Justices Dipankar Datta and George Massey. So, of course, this raises a lot of questions on public conduct, and particularly if you are speaking from a position of strength, such as leader of opposition. So,
can I respond back?
No, one moment. I'm going to take opening comments from everyone and then I come back to you, Adil. Major General Meston, do remarks like those made by Rahul Gandhi actually have some kind of tangible impact on troop morale and public confidence in the armed forces, or should the military institution remain above political commentary altogether?
Marya, good evening. I think the armed forces generally should remain above all these political statements. And, after hearing whatever has happened today in the Supreme Court, see, the fact of the matter is that any politician, I repeat the word, any politician, one has to be very, very clear with their statements on conduct or, any discussion pertaining to national security and the armed forces. Now, supposing this word, it is definitely derogatory pitai. the word could have been used. The forces were attacked or they were fired upon. But pitai is a very derogatory remark, and I think no politician should ever use such remarks. That I am very clear. Number two is there has been also talk about some intrusion or 20,000 square kilometers of area. I think that also my remark would be luckily I have commanded my brigade here in Nathula. Then I was also the Colonel GS of a division in same Ladakh sector where I used to be looking after the operational aspects, including planning of patrols. And also as a brigadier, I was looking after the military operations directorate, the entire LAC with China. So whatever on ground situation is, and the remark made was status quo ante to be restored, the army chief was quoted. Now what does it imply? It implies, firstly, the arm, on the line of actual control, there are different perceptions of both sides. This is a factual aspect, and there are areas of difference and areas of dispute mutually agreed upon, most of them. So therefore, what we do is, we carry out our patrols up to our perceived line, and the Chinese carry on their patrollings up to their perceived line, and in between sometimes clashes used to occur, which is known as face-offs, and therefore, after Galwan, what happened in the number of corps commander talks to diffuse the situation? It was to de-escalate. So what decision was arrived? That in between those perceived areas, some kind of a buffer zone can be perhaps considered for the time being. And that is what the army chief was referring, that we'll go back to the status quo. And in this period, for example, PP14 or PP15, wherever our patrols used to go, it was decided that, you can use UAVs, etc. And these patrols were avoided. So that is not seizing territory. That is applicable for both the sides, both the Chinese side and the Indian side. Number three, I was also in a previous discussion where some remarks were made that some BJP MP from Arunachal has stated and the SP in Ladakh has stated. Now let me be very clear on ground. On ground, the deployment in the entire line of control is by the armed forces and the ITBP. For example, when I was commanding my brigade in Nathula, only people used to visit us in Nathula. No one ever came and neither can go to any of the posts. So as a brigade commander, I was responsible for my jurisdiction and I am aware on ground. Similarly, whether it is in Leh Ladakh, the SP never goes to those areas. Those are such remote, far-flung areas. Police has got no role. That is the role of the ITBP of the armed forces. So we are aware. So there has been no intrusion. It is only how one has put it across. There has been no intrusion. Whatever we were, for example, I was there in 2004 in the Ladakh area. Whatever it was, it is same. The same areas we will go and patrol once these de-escalation and all these things are decided. So that is what has happened. No territory has been at least yielded to the Chinese in any manner. Marya.
Okay. Kapil Sankla, does this observation by the Supreme Court actually set a precedent for general judicial scrutiny on statements which is made by public figures, or is it a one-off in the context of national security and military reputation?
No, in fact, the Honorable Supreme Court time and again has come down very heavily on political figures who have made loose statements. And unfortunately, I should not be saying this, but many of those recently have also been by Mr. Gandhi, including the Modi remark. Now, in this particular case, the Honorable Supreme Court has actually gone beyond that and asked very pertinent and very incisive questions as to the conduct of Mr. Gandhi, asking him, how do you know these figures? Where do you get these details? And the second most important thing, reminded Mr. Gandhi, as has been done in many other cases against many politicians, that the MP's privilege to make any statement, whatever he wants, is inside the parliament and not outside the parliament. Because outside the parliament, he can be held up to judicial scrutiny. The exceptional part here is to say that you can say anything else wherever you want in the parliament, but not on social media. Because if you make a statement outside the parliament, you need to back it up. Unfortunately, that statement has not been backed up, at least outside the parliament. I have been listening to my colleague who said that he has the information. But if his information is only other media reports, then that is a very weak kind of argument and a very poor narrative to make. in this particular case as well, it was stated that this is a victory of sorts. I don't really think so. Because this is a case of a criminal defamation where the test is very high, and the Honorable Supreme Court would, of course, like to test the case because of two legal arguments that were put forth by the counsel, Mr. Singhvi, and which were very pertinent. One, whether the person who has filed the defamation case is personally affected by the defamatory statements, and whether the second part of it is that it's a statement made by a political figure. So the Honorable Supreme Court asked him, and to paraphrase, can that be taken lightly? And the stay was granted on that second legal issue. In my view, that second legal issue, very shortly, is also that this statement was made against the Border Roads Organization. The gentleman who's filed this is the former director of Border Roads Organization. And the Mr. Modi judgment, which was there as to who can be affected, would come in favor of the complainant in this case. Okay. But that is my personal opinion.
Okay. Let me go back to the two politicians on the show now, Rohan Gupta and Adil Singh Boparai. Adil, is the Congress party here guilty of politicizing sensitive military matters by making serious allegations in public forums, especially when such claims are now being questioned by the country's highest court?
Marya, it's a 3 versus 1 debate, so please give me some adequate time.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
You
have a lawyer of the Supreme Court who has an independent view. You have a former army man who has an independent view.
To make my submission, I respectfully disagree with you. Let's agree to disagree. Number one, and we've said this ad nauseum, let me repeat this again. Mr. Modi and the BJP is not India. I repeat, because perhaps it doesn't percolate down the BJP and their acolytes. Mr. Modi and the BJP is not India, number one. Mr. Modi is not the Indian army, number two. We respect the valor of our forces. Our grievance is against the political timidity of the government. So let's not conflate both these issues. These are two separate issues. Number one. Number two, if there was no encroachment or no incursion, then why did the Galvan clash take place? It doesn't stand to logic. Number three, if there was no encroachment and if we were not seeking status quo ante, then why did we have 30 rounds of discussions? Were we discussing New Year celebrations with the Chinese? Were we discussing how we should celebrate Christmas? Obviously, there was encroachment and hence we were seeking status quo ante. Let's not play verbal acrobatics. A simple translation of status quo ante would demonstrate that to your viewers. Number four, forget what I say. There is satellite imagery to buttress the point that right at the point of the Galvan clash, the Chinese had constructed an installation. There is satellite imagery. Let the BJP deny that satellite imagery. Number five, what does the leader of the opposition do if the speaker and the BJP doesn't let him speak on the issue on the floor of the House? If the BJP repeatedly obstructs our questions on the floor of the House, if the BJP MPs start moving privilege motions when we seek answers from the government, what are we required to do? What do you do in a democracy? I am sorry, we are not yes men. Fortunately, we still have a spine.
Respond to that. Rohan, valid points. Here one may say that if the leader of opposition is not getting a chance to speak inside parliament, then where should he speak?
Again, this claim is also not backed by the proof, right? If even this statement is made in public and tomorrow anybody files, again they will have to apologize because there are rules in parliament. And as per the rules, whenever leader of opposition is supposed to be, he has spoken. And BJP government, mind you, the government has challenged Congress party to come and tell under which rule he has been denied where he had right to speak. He will not answer, number one. Number two, very important thing. He is talking that we are not allowed to be, we don't allow them to speak in parliament. When Manipur debate happened, Congress forced for Manipur debate. What happened? They did walk out. They wanted the debate on Sindoor. What happened? They walked out. So what is this? You are not serious about your politics. One more thing. Just 2 days back, leader of opposition tells our economic debt. Do you feel this statement can be justified from any source, anywhere? You tell me. So you cannot. That's the problem here. You definitely do your politics. But when you call Indian economic debt, you are insulting the hard work of 140 crore people. That is not allowed. You have to question other people who remain your country. And that is why Congress party is losing trust of people of this country. Again, I am coming to the basic point. You definitely have right to question the government. You definitely have rights to raise the issues, but not at the cost of the pride of the people or pride of the army. You need to justify with the proof. You call our economy dead. You question our army. You question everything. You question election commission. How will people trust you? What narrative you are setting? Just so-called darbaris, they just set up the narrative which is not sellable in the market. People don't like this kind of attitude. You have to back. You are a responsible person. You are just not a normal leader.
Quickly, 30 seconds. Let's wrap up this discussion and move ahead.
30 seconds for me, considering that Congress... Can I come in, please, Marya?
Yes, Adil.
Marya, the SP of Leh. Now, of course, the general said that we should discount what the SP of Leh is saying. The SP of Leh, who's a public servant, says this at the annual DGP meeting, that we've lost access to 26 out of the 65 patrolling points in eastern Ladakh. If he's lying, sack him. Take action against him. If he's lying, then why don't you not take action against him? The unfortunate problem in this country today, post-2014, is that people have lost their spine. They've become yes men. Hence, we are unlike the BJP. For us, patriotism means to stand by the country, not give clean chits to the Chinese. The BJP and the Prime Minister gave a clean chit to the Chinese, and we will continue to seek accountability. And finally, give us the opportunity to discuss this on the floor of the House. It is the BJP and the Speaker who denied us this opportunity. The BJP can't run with the hare and hunt with the hounds. They can't say, why are you raking it out outside the Parliament when you don't give us an opportunity on the floor of the House?
Okay, General Meston, you wanted to come in. 30 seconds, please, quickly.
Yeah, Marya, firstly, I think a statement has been made that people lack spine. I think I can understand that it is for me, no, but anyway, I don't take offense to such comments. But let me clarify one thing. On ground, it has just been stated that Galwan there was encroachment and that is why the clash happened. No, I will now ask the gentleman, 1967, since I have commanded my Nathula brigade and I went into detail, 1967, why did the Chinese attack and killed 67 of our troops in Nathula? Why? You know the reason for why is because Indian army was just putting a barbed wire fence and the Chinese fight, and thereafter of course India retaliated and we killed that 200. So now coming back to Galwan, there was no encroachment. We were going into the areas where it is our territory. We were doing some construction work. The Chinese opposed it because we were constructing the Shiok DBO axis, and that is why they objected it. We continued, and therefore the Chinese just came and fired upon. There was no encroachment.
Okay.
And that is why the Galwan clash
All
took
right.
place. Number three. Since
Quickly,
the statement has also been made on 30-round talks. The 30-round talks have taken not for picnics or anything. Let's use a correct military language. It was used for de-escalation. And that is why, though perceived areas of differences, that is why the buffer zone was created. And that is why the UAVs and etc. it was decided there go in patrol areas. And that is why the chief had remarked that we are looking at a time frame when the status quo is retained. That means the Chinese also go to patrol their area where their perception was, and the Indian army also patrols to their areas where our perception for. Live example is PP 15, 14, 11, etc. So let us not hear wrong statements. And as regards the SP is concerned, I can challenge this SP if he has walked every post in Ladakh sector. No, the answer is no. The ITBP and the Indian army is deployed. So let us not go.
I think that should answer all the questions that were being raised by Adil Singh Boparai. General Meston, pleasure having you on my show. Adil Singh Boparai, Rohan Gupta and Kapil Sankla, thank you so much for joining us.